You're listening to the Align to Amplify podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Sarah and Haley.
Hello, and welcome to Align to Amplify. I am Sarah Sunshine Garrison. I'm an intuitive business healer, spiritual growth coach, and really just here to help you be more aligned with your business. So I am the aligned part of Align to Amplify, and I'm here with
Haley Lewis, brand accelerator and creative advisor for executives in business. I help you align your brand and be seen. So I am the amplify of our Align to Amplify.
And today's been a long day. We have recorded a lot of episodes together, just the two of us. I feel like it takes more energy just to do the two of us. So we brought drinks.
We must hydrate.
We were kind of like, okay, this is it. We're going to do another episode. We're going to do this. But oh my goodness, it's been a long day. And you know what's interesting is that we don't know where we're going to put this in the lineup. So it
could go anywhere. So this is bonus footage. This is a bonus conversation happening today.
And we've got the giggles because we've been doing this so much.
Exactly. But we have the giggles all the time when we
Yes.
talk because it's fun to talk with somebody who will listen to you, and you can get really deep into really deep conversations. You can get really crazy with stuff. You can get controversial. You can get a little naughty with our conversations because sometimes we do. Oh my gosh, sometimes the naughtiest conversations I've ever overheard, like at restaurants and coffee shops, have been the little old ladies. Oh, good Lord, they're unfiltered.
Well, I mean, I think about it. When you get to that age, do you really care? Like, do you really care?
You don't give two shits anymore.
No. I mean, even us, I think of the conversations, like even the conversation we had earlier today.
Which one? No, don't say that. There are things that will never air.
But the thing is that it was a bunch of us older women around someone that was much younger, and
and she started
giggling and laughing and like just it because it's uncomfortable if you're like at some point you stop caring. You stop caring that you make other people uncomfortable, or you forget that other people's ears are there and they're gonna.
But listening to some of these older ladies, I'm like, oh, there's room still for me to fall. Really,
Yeah.
really. I mean, shocking conversations with the little blue-haired ladies, and it's funny. It's funny to overhear it, and I'm like, someday I'm going to be so unfiltered. It will be amazing.
Well, I can't wait to that moment where I just don't give a care of what other people think about me. Because honestly, here's the thing. If they want to listen in on my conversation, that's on them. It's kind of like this podcast. If you're watching this podcast and we spark something in you, that's on you. Like,
yeah,
I mean, maybe
because it's not our intent to ever trigger anybody or be, so full of hate that you tip over with anxiety. But we are seriously honest and open in our discussions, and we invite anybody to, kind of come along as we talk through some of our, especially the ones that are just me and Sarah, because we will get into it.
We'll push some boundaries. Like, yeah. I think one of them that we recorded recently, I was like, oh my gosh, I think we just pissed everyone off. I think we pissed off. I can't think of a single belief structure we didn't step into.
So goal number 1 met.
Yes.
If you're not upsetting somebody, you're not really talking about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So today
what do you want
to talk about?
Intro. Well, I thought it would be fun to talk about religion.
Okay, everybody, grab your Bible.
What if?
And say a prayer because we're going there.
What if they don't believe in the Bible? What else should they grab? whatever other religious icon thing that is.
Token.
Yeah.
I mean, hug yourself if you need to. Because I know that religion in general can be a hot topic because people get passionate about it. Because
yeah.
we're talking about core belief systems here.
Oh, yeah. Well, and yeah, I mean, people get super passionate about it in all aspects. You have the people that are like 100% atheist and don't believe anything outside of just this. And they're going to get passionate about it too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there's anyone that doesn't care.
So just keep in mind as we discuss, it's our opinion. We're not experts. I did not go to
Seminary.
Yeah, well, I kind of did, but not the seminary that.
But that seminary, like you did it in high school, right? And
Yes.
you went to college. You went to a religious college, though.
Right. So
Yeah.
okay, I'll just come right out. I was born and raised Mormon in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And what we do have during your foundational years in high school is early morning. Well, we had early morning seminary. Some places that have more members of the church have release
class.
time during the school. So I did early morning seminary, graduated with 4 years of seminary under my belt, and was accepted into Brigham Young University. Part of going to BYU in Provo, Utah is to, you have a requirement of a religious study. So, I don't know if it's every semester, every year you need to take a religious class. So I have some background and, being born and raised in the Mormon faith, you go to church every day and all day on Sunday. I mean, it's a life. It's a culture. Yeah. It's definitely very foundational in growing up. So I do have a religious background. So there I am.
Yeah.
There it is.
There it is. There it is. I don't have the same sort of upbringing by any means. My mom and dad didn't really go to church. I went to church with my aunt and uncle when I stayed with them. They were Nazarene. They went to the Church of the Nazarene. And I went to that through them. I also had a friend who, I think it's called Seventh-day Adventist, where they go to church on Saturdays.
I think the Jehovah's Witnesses go on Saturday as well.
But this wasn't Jehovah Witness. I think it was latter. It was Seventh-day Adventist.
Okay.
So I attended Seventh-day Adventist. I had attended Catholic Mass with other friends. I had attended a Mormon church with friends. So I have a huge diverse background. And at when I was in high school, I'm going to get into some trauma,
She's
y'all.
going to get into it, so buckle up, everybody.
I'm getting into some trauma, y'all. But when I was in high school, there was a family thing that happened. One of an extended family member, not my immediate, but extended family member molested children. And this extended family member was very religious, like went to church all the time, that sort of thing. And so when that all happened, I was in high school. I was just about to get baptized, and I opted not to. And I actually walked as far away from Christianity as I could possibly walk. I decided to learn about every religious belief that was not one of the major religions in the world at the time. So not Buddhism, not Hinduism, not Judaism, not Christianity, not Islamism. I think hopefully that's the right word. I looked into Celticism, mysticism. I looked into Satanism. I learned about...
Did you go into Druid at all?
I looked at Druid. I don't even know how to say that word right now, but I literally looked into everything that was completely not mainstream. I learned all about all of the different belief systems out there, as much as you can when you're trying to learn it all. You can't really. But I walked as far away from God as one could. And then when I was 28, I walked into a church and for the first time in I don't know how many years, and got baptized that same day. And when I called all of my friends to tell them, they were like, you didn't burn when you went into that water? I was like, no. And they're like, what were you thinking? You do realize this is completely against everything you've ever believed. And I said, yeah, but there's something that called to me that said, you need to do this. So I did it.
So you walked away as far as you could, and then you jumped back.
I walked away for 10 years. I walked as far away as I could. And I fought. I had some pretty tough religious discussions with my now husband, with my then best friend, about beliefs, about religion. I mean, I was going to school, like this is how far I was going to school to learn about the origins of mankind. I literally learned about evolution. I learned about human evolution. I wanted to be a biological anthropologist to study the origins of mankind and literally the physical aspects. I ended up not doing that because part of being a biological anthropologist means you have to memorize, you have to take anatomy and physiology, and you have to memorize things. And I'm really good with story, and I'm really good at remembering story. But when I'm supposed to remember what the name of this little teeny tiny bone is in this one little finger, I forget that. I cannot memorize that stuff. So I ended up like not going for that major, but I really went very far away. And yeah, it was very strange to walk into a church and just be like called, like, okay, Sarah, it's time. It's time to come back. But it was a 10-year journey for me to really like understand. And even once I came back and I was baptized and all of that, I still didn't feel right. And even to this day, organized religion, like I will go to church. I do have a church that I attend every so often. I used to attend it regularly and I stopped. But there's a piece of me that I don't feel like I 100% fit in with the doctrine that is the Christian religion. I call myself Christian because of my belief structure, but there's so many pieces of it that I have to like step back and I have to look at it from a different lens because of the experiences that I had.
I find that interesting because I'm almost exactly opposite I align with the doctrinal teachings of my religion, but I don't find alignment with the community and culture. So I'm a believer, but I don't get involved, and I don't currently attend as I used to. So, but I still consider myself Mormon, I guess.
But you're not supposed to call yourself Mormon anymore.
Well, no, we're not. So it's supposed to be a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
That's just a mouthful.
It is. It's very long.
You should just be called Mormon. Like, everyone knows what that is. Like the Church.
It's more of a slang. It's more of a slang term, and it's not. I don't think being called Mormon is derogatory or negative in any way. So I just simply say, yeah, I'm Mormon, because people understand that and they know it. And from a branding point of view, here's the amplify part, is that is, I think the church is going through a rebrand. Mm-hmm. And I don't know the in and outs of why they're trying to distance themselves from the word Mormon, but it is a very branded, word. So I don't have a problem with it, so I still use it, but I'm also not super active in
the church.
Yeah, but I'm devout in the gospel principles.
It's Absolutely. Very interesting. It's very interesting because I think what fascinates me the most is that our beliefs kind of align in a lot of ways, which is very strange because I'm like, I don't believe in the well, there are doctrine I do believe in. I just am not, I don't know what the right way to say this is. I believe that God is love. Mm-hmm. I believe God is unconditional love. God, creator, universe, for me, whatever you want to call that entity, I call it God, but I believe God is 100%, unconditional love. And for me, if something is unconditional love, why are they putting conditions and restrictions on what our relationship with them is? So that's where I struggle with some of the pieces of the religious. Now, I could tell you some really cool stories from the Bible. I can tell you some really cool, like, I can remember those, but I couldn't tell you like a passage or where to find it in the Bible. Like, I guess the story of Moses is in Exodus. It's all Exodus. I know that just because that's where his story is. But I couldn't tell you where some of the stories about that Jesus told are in the Bible. I have no idea. I just remember it.
Well, we have a friend who's a Pentecostal minister.
Oh, yeah.
And that would be a fantastic conversation, because then we could get into our thoughts and feelings about religion, and then he could like completely quote where it comes from.
Oh, yeah.
And straighten us up real quick.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is that actually he was instrumental in helping me through some of the challenges that I was having. So one of the things, like, I have a bunch of spiritual gifts. I used to believe that they were spiritual curses. I used to feel like if I'm following Christianity, I'm following Jesus, and I'm all this, I'm not allowed to have all these other things because they're witchy. You know, that's what I would always...
Because you're putting that label on it.
Well, yeah, but none of the religious belief structures up to the point that I met that pastor had the spiritual side of things. They didn't have the woo-woo side of things. Like, it was just very down to earth. Like, here's the lessons you learn through life to be a good person, to go to heaven when you die. There wasn't like this other concept. And, you know, when I was struggling because I was getting nightmares and I was being, there was just, I knew it was more of a spiritual thing than it was anything else. But when I was struggling, I was at a point, I had two people to call. I had two people that were like super, super strong in their belief systems. I had one that was a Pentecostal pastor, and I had another one that was a high priest in a warlock. I don't know what the right word, but he was a witch, but a male witch, a warlock, but a high level warlock of some sort. So I had like these two people to call. The first person that I called was the pastor, and the phone rang, and I told myself, if it goes to voicemail or he doesn't answer, then I was going to call the warlock, because I needed some sort of spiritual guidance, because I was at a point of breaking. I was really just like done. And what was really interesting is the phone rang, and it rang, and it rang, and it rang. And usually after about 4 rings, it goes to voicemail. It wasn't going to voicemail. It just kept ringing. And I told myself, I'm not hanging up unless it goes to voicemail. You know, so it just kept ringing. And he finally answered after probably 7 or 8, 9. I don't even know. There's just so many rings. I was really shocked. He finally answered, and I told him what was going on. And he's like, I think you need to come down and talk to my wife and I. I've got some stuff to show you that's in the Bible. And that's when I learned about the gifts of the Spirit. And I suddenly didn't feel like I wasn't supposed to be part of the religion. I suddenly didn't feel like there was something wrong with me. I suddenly was like, okay, this is a gift, and I have to figure out why it's a gift and what it was meant for and why I'm running from it. That's why I was having nightmares, because I was running from it and not embracing it. And just that little piece, like, totally, I think it saved me in a way that even the baptism didn't save me.
I find it interesting that, you know, that was probably, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
At least.
It was a while ago.
But knowing you that long and watching you come to terms with your gifts, embracing them, and then basically building your life, or a life around them, to help and foster others is so beautiful to see that transformation in you. And now that these because the gift hasn't changed, you have. The gift is still the same. It's now you have, you know,
I have control over it now. It doesn't just like happen. Like I can
Yes.
tap into, I can connect with Creator very easily now versus it was only when I was sleeping or when I quieted my mind. Like I couldn't meditate back then. Like meditating was so scary to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I'm super impressed with that and the good that she's doing now in her work as a spiritual business healer, and watching the transformation of clients that come through that where those blocks are evaporated, and seeing the lift that people experience in working with Sarah. It comes from that spiritual strength, which is amazing. And so back into religion, how do you align now your spiritual gifts with your religious beliefs and practices?
how do I align those? Oh goodness.
Because there's going to be people that are listening right now that are like, she's a witch. Burn her.
Okay, well, the first thing.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm laughing because that's actually one of the things that I'm going to say this word, and I don't believe that I'm the healer, but being a healer, I believe I heal. The healing happens through me, not because of me. I'm just facilitating the connection between you and Creator so the healing can happen. I'm not the healer, but anyone that lives in that world of healing has this notion that they are going to die for their beliefs and for their gifts, because you got Jesus died on the cross. He was a healer. You hear about the Salem witch trials where witches were burned at the stake because, well, that's a whole nother thing. That was a whole political crap thing. But you had that happening where people were penalized and ostracized because of their healing powers and because of their witchiness. And, that had to be a whole thing that I had to heal in myself, was to understand that I'm not going to be persecuted because I'm a healer. And what I have learned since then is if it triggers someone, what I'm saying, that's not my problem. That's not something that I need to solve within myself. Because what was happening was whenever I was triggering somebody, I was like, oh my God, I did something wrong. I did something wrong. Oh, it's all me. It's my problem. And it is not true, because I'm just being me. And if it triggers something in somebody else, it means they've got an issue they've got to work through. And so it's their issue. It's their problem that they have to figure out and understand. And as an example, I was at an event. So judgy of me.
Judge away.
I
Just
was at
go
this.
for it.
I was at this event. And it was a bunch of healers, a bunch of people that were in like various levels of that, like different modalities, Reiki and energy healing, whatever. We were at this event, and I felt like I was around a bunch of people that were much more advanced than I was in this experience. And so I was trying to be like, okay, I'm going to be aligned with myself, and I'm going to just like go with the flow. And there was this one person that was like, oh my God, like this is so much fun. And oh my gosh. And like at one point in time, like something gets on their shoes, and she's like, oh girls, I got to go clean this off. You know what it's like when you have a good pair of shoes. And I was annoyed. I was like, oh my God, we're here at a healing convention thingy. I don't even know what to call it. And you're being all like flighty. What the heck? And I was so irritated. I could not focus on what was going on.
It's like, go sit down, little girl.
Yeah. I was like, sit down and shut up and just go along with this. And then I realized that I was doing that because of myself and my experiences. Like Haley knows some of my past experiences in the healing world. And I was always told to sit down and shut up, that I couldn't be my outgoing, boisterous, fun, oh my God, self. Because trust me, I do that. That voice is not just a voice. Haley can attest to that. So I learned, like through that experience, that what I was judging in her was actually something about myself that I had not come to terms with. that she was agitating something in me that was causing me to have a visceral reaction to her. And so when I learned that, I literally said a prayer like, okay, God, I've got it. Please release this. Take this back. I don't need this. It doesn't serve me anymore. I understand. I just need to be myself. Please take this back. And when it happened, all of a sudden, she didn't annoy me anymore. I was actually like excited that she was there and that she was having this experience and that she was able to be part of this group. So I've learned like what I bring to the table religiously or non-religiously, if that upsets other people, it's because there's something in them that is upsetting too. It's not because of me.
And that's usually almost any interaction in life is it's your relationships are a reflection of you coming back at you. So, but what I love what you said is giving it to God, giving it and saying, this no longer serves me, please remove it. And to do that, you have to live with a certain level of faith that is possible. Because I know that, faith plays a huge part in the power of miracles in your life. So recognizing it and then turning it over to the Lord, saying, hey,
take this.
Please take this. And the beauty of it, and I know that this is part of my belief system, is that he does. And the thing is that he already has.
You just have to let him.
You
just
have to release it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, way back when I was dating my husband and I just couldn't say the L word. I just could, there were times when it was just right on my tongue. But because of my own experiences, because of my stubbornness, because of the bubble that I had built around my heart and my life, it was hard for me, to do it. And finally, one day I just said, I'm afraid to tell you this. I'm afraid to tell you I love you. But I do, kind of thing. And he's like, I was just waiting for you. I was just waiting for you.
Yeah.
Because I knew you needed to be the one to make that decision. And I was like, oh my gosh. So when we're talking about giving things over to God and giving things, like those burdens of life and whatever, he's already taken it. We just need to let him know that you're ready to give it up.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Which is great.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think if anybody wants to take something away from this episode is if you do have something that you're holding on to so tightly, or you've got something that just makes you so mad, start looking internally. Start saying, okay, what does this trigger in me? Why am I so angry about this? And then release the anger. Give it back to God. Say, God, I don't want this anger anymore. Take it away from me. I'm done. But you also need to learn the lesson. There is a lesson attached. For me, the lesson was that I needed to accept who I was and accept that I'm that flighty, goofy girl, and I always will be. I'm never going to be that sage on the mountaintop and, I'm never going to be that person. I just can't be. I'm a head in the clouds and feet on the ground sort of person. If you know me, I live in this spiritual world, but I have a farm and I have animals and, I like
chickens sitting on her shoulder.
Yeah. So, there's this, you got to learn to accept yourself and just take that lesson and then release that anger and release that frustration and that pain.
And the beauty of it is that whether you believe in God or not, find a higher power that you can release to, because you don't have to do it alone.
Even if it's like a counselor or a friend you can talk to just release it. Yep. Those rage rooms are great too, to go through a bunch of stuff.
We've talked. You've mentioned those a couple times.
Yeah.
You've never
heard of them.
I've heard of them, and through our conversations, but I've never seen one. And my problem with the rage room is that I have an angry monster that I've had to tame and keep fed in a healthy way. so the rage room scares me just a little bit because I would have to unlock the monster.
Yep.
And maybe that's another conversation for next time.
Yeah. I feel like we could go so much more deep because, I mean, while I told my story a little bit, you know, I don't think we talked about how to reconcile those things at all, which has been a challenge. And we haven't really talked much about your belief structure and how somehow what we believe is aligned.
Oh, yeah.
Is a strangest thing.
And we can get into that another time because, and we'll just give you a little sneak peek what that conversation might involve is, you know, when you talk about the different realms or the different layers of
different. Yeah. So there's
the
different planes of existence.
Yes.
I guess. I don't know what the right word.
Coming from my religious and spiritual background and like just totally makes sense. And as she's describing it, she goes, I know this is going to sound weird, but, and I'm like, nope, sounds super familiar to me. So we'll have to get into that on another episode and dive into, you know, how I reconcile all of, you know, Sarah's spiritual work and her woo world ideas and practices with my religious beliefs and how it just amplifies what I believe. And it doesn't make me question anything. So it's interesting. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And I think we could probably talk forever about that.
Yeah. Well, and I know like when we get into that piece of it, I know it'll trigger a lot of people because how can I call myself Christian and believe in what I believe in? And, you know, for me, I have reconciled that and I continuously find things within the Bible that just reinforce the belief structure that I have developed throughout the years. And I'm a big proponent of knowing what false light is and knowing what true light is. So knowing that where something comes from Creator, from God, and where it comes from the false light, which would be the other side of the fallen angels and things like that.
Just a little sneak hint.
Yes.
That's one of my gifts. Knowing
the light and not the false light.
Well, things that are good, right, and true.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little radar, but
yes,
we can talk about that next time. But until then, thanks for joining us and listening in on our religious conversations. We'll dive into it a little more, and if you have anything specifically, you know, about this topic that you would like us to expound on, we are an open book, completely transparent, completely authentic, unscripted, clearly. And
if you've got a religious belief and you want to be on this show, we would love to have conversations on whatever belief structure you have. If you want to challenge us, great. If you want to agree with us, great. I mean, it doesn't like we welcome the dialogue.
Sounds good.
Okay. We'll see you next time.